Welcome back to episode 151 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. And as you can see, live on location, baby, we are at Dodger Stadium, the site of games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series. How about it? Everybody and their mother is out here. I was just telling Kyle a second ago. You got ESPN and Fox down the left field line. You got MLB Network doing their thing down the right field line by the Blue Jays dugout. And in the corner behind the Blue Jays bullpen, you've got Rogers Communications out here. They got their own little studio. So pretty much everybody and their mother and probably, ESPN Deportes is somewhere around here too. And probably the French people too for Canada. They're probably around here somewhere too. But we are here, World Series. Super fun to be here. Second straight year and the first time recording a podcast from the World Series. How about it? But before we get into all that, we played two games in this World Series. Of course, if you haven't been living under a rock, series is tied at 1-1. But before we get into everything and some of the sights and sounds of the World Series, Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. With my team out of contention this year, we're kind of just laying back around here. I'm tuning into the World Series games. There's no doubt about that.
Big Dodger fan, Kyle.
Absolutely, yes, that is something we'll get into here shortly. But to answer your question, man, yeah, I'm doing good. This it's kind of the best time of the year, right? We have the sports solstice, as they like to say, where all four major sports are currently playing. So that's always fun, man. But yeah, no, I'm excited for Game 3, and then we'll get your thoughts on everything, and um, we'll get out of here then. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. It hasn't really sunk in yet that I'm here. Second straight year, huge honor to be here, obviously. Um, it's super cool for the second straight year that my team is one of the last two team standings. Of course, we would like to be the final team standing, of course, but super cool to be here, man. Like, I walked in here today and it's like, it's amazing. Like, you see the stadium, like in the beginning of the season when there's nobody here. And then you fast forward all the way to October, and like I just mentioned, everybody and their mother is out here trying to see the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. But it's crazy. It's been a fun couple of days. Obviously, I was not happy Friday night. The Dodgers got absolutely pounded, 11-4. But they came back the next day like any defending champion should, and they responded in a big way and got a 5-1 W with Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitching another gem. So I'm doing all right. And I'm sure you've seen it. My services have been very much needed other places. I've been a guest on two podcasts this week during the World Series, so that was really cool. Shout out to the Orioles podcast that I went on. Shout out to Justin. A shout out to the Pro Sports Media podcast that I went on to yesterday. They're based out in Toronto, actually, so that was kind of cool. My voice was heard in another country, damn it. So, we're going global, but to answer your question, doing fantastic. World Series game 3 tonight. Now, of course, if the Dodgers lose a couple of these games, my mood is going to change very quickly. But for right now, Dodgers are back at home. They have the momentum right now, and it's just good to be here.
Yes, and before we dive into this World Series, we got to give a shout out to Dodgers Mookie Betts for winning the Roberto Clemente Award.
I just
Very,
saw him right now get the award. He was doing a
yes,
little
very
segment on MLB Network.
very prestigious honor. That's pretty cool to see. Yeah, no, it's been it's definitely been very cool to watch this World Series unfold. And yeah, as you mentioned, I'm a huge Dodger fan right now, so we can get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the first game. Um, as a Dodger fan, that game one was exactly what you feared the entire postseason. Now, a part of me is like, all right, I'm glad it didn't happen until game one of the World Series. But then you saw the way the game unfolded. It was kind of disappointing. The Dodgers had a 2-0 lead. They took the crowd out of it, and they had a golden chance to really get to Trey Savage, particularly in the top of the second or third inning, I believe. They had the bases loaded. Andy Paez, who's been bad all off season. I'm not gonna all postseason. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but he got a 3-2 pitch, a sinker. I mean, not a sinker, a splitter that was not a strike at all. after he was able to work it to a full count, he swung and missed, and then Shohei, who again is off to a bad start again in this World Series, grounds out to first, and then it's 2-0 Dodgers. Then you knew the Blue Jays were going to find a way to get back into the game. I told myself that, man, this 2-0 lead is not going to hold, dude. And sure enough, Blake Snell had his worst performance of the postseason with the Dodgers, which I can't get on him too much because he's been so good for us all season, and he was due honestly to have a bad game like that. It just sucks that it had to happen in Game One of the World Series, and it sucks that it had to happen to this team because after Game One was over, you had a lot of Dodger fans, not myself, not including me, but a lot of Dodger fans on Twitter, like, oh well, this series is over. It was a fun ride. It's hard to go back to back. I'm like, wait a second, like I understand they just got the doors kicked in them 11-4, but there's still more games to be played. And as good as the Blue Jays have been this whole postseason, they're not going to score 11 runs again. I'm not saying they can't do it the rest of the series; they absolutely can. But I'm like, to do that two nights in a row, like that's hard to do. And sure enough, and we'll get into game two momentarily, but just that's my thoughts on it. I think I'm happy to be back here with a split, but I do think the Dodgers let the Blue Jays off the hook a little bit in game one. But it was their home game. They had been off for a couple days. The Dodgers probably a little rusty. They were off for a full week, so having to go to a different country. So I get all that, but um, Blue Jays kicked the shit out of my team in Game One, and there was a lot of people when I posted that video of the reaction of that horrible sixth inning. A lot of people were taking pleasure in that, and then when they won the previous night, nowhere to be seen. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah, no. Yeah, for game one, man. You almost feel that the Dodgers let the Blue Jays off a little bit. On the other hand, am the opposite, right? So for me, the Blue Jays have kicked ass all postseason long. They knocked my team out of contention. They're a very respectable ball club. But for the fact that you're going back to Los Angeles, series tied, and that sucks, man. In my personal opinion. Now, obviously, that's the way I saw it going. I expected them to split the games in Toronto. However, for me, like if Toronto's going up 2-0 into Los Angeles, that's huge, man. That is like so it's almost it's like unfathom, honestly, because this Dodger team, right? I have been ever since the Milwaukee series when the Yankees got kicked out, and I'm just letting shit fly now, right? For me, this Dodger team is like miles above. And I understand I'm an outsider. You're going to critique the little things and things like that. But for me personally, when I look at this Dodger club, they can almost do no wrong in my eyes because they are built that way. They are built for October. Okay. And you have to take advantage of every possible opportunity you can against this team. And that's exactly what the Blue Jays did in game one. They had a phenomenal game one. The lineup was hitting, everybody was having fun. And then game two comes around, and then the Dodgers are back up on their high horse, and they tied the series going back to Los Angeles. For me personally, that's where like I'd be happy to be a Dodger fan. You're going back to Los Angeles I'm sorry, series tied with a chance to go up. And you have three games being played in Los Angeles right now. If I was a Dodger fan, man, the only thing better is a 2-0 lead. Um, that's just me personally, but I'm not taking anything away from this Blue Jays team. Game one was phenomenal from the Blue Jays. Trey Savage, I mean, he pitched like how he's been pitching. This guy's been a prodigy ever since the postseason started. It's kind of crazy to watch, but yeah, I mean this Blue Jays team, man, it was all them game one, and it shows why they're in the World Series. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm not taking anything away from the Blue Jays. And you know, I did say this to the other podcast that I went on, and I said this, to a lot of my friends and a lot of coworkers. I did not like the things that were being said about this World Series before we had even thrown a pitch in this series, including a lot of people that supposedly do this media stuff professionally. I'm talking like people at the LA Times and stuff, the biggest newspaper in the city, and a lot of Dodger fans. I think they just thought that, this Blue Jays team, we're just gonna go in there, roll them. We're gonna take the two games like we've done the last two series on the road, and we're just gonna come here and wrap this thing up. I was like, hold on a second, like let's not go crazy here. Like I know we've gotten used to winning on the road and winning two games, but yeah, at the end of the day, you were just hoping for a split, and yeah, the Dodgers got it. But Um, Blue Jays did what they were supposed to do, and a lot of people said before Game One, and I agreed with it. And obviously they did what they were supposed to do. A lot of people said that the Blue Jays had to win Game One because if they didn't win Game One, this series might be over quickly. Because the
Absolutely.
Dodgers were you couldn't beat a Dodgers team when they were rusty and off for a week, and this Blue Jays team, I know they played a grueling 7 game series, but they just played Monday. Game one was Friday. They had played their game seven on Monday, so they were still pretty much fresh. But um, there was a lot of people that said the Blue Jays had to win Game One, and they did. And props to them. And I can't get on Emmett Sheehan, and he was put in a tough situation. He didn't pitch the entire championship series against the Brewers. The last time we saw him in a game was pretty much like 2 weeks ago against the Phillies in that game, crazy ending to Game Four of the division series. So I can't get on. Um, I can't get on Emmett Sheehan too much. He hadn't been used in over almost 2 weeks, and God, like when it was bases loaded 2-2 in the sixth inning, I was like, you know what? The Blue Jays are probably going to take the lead here. They're too good of a team. Just keep it at 4-2. If you can keep it at 4-2, all right, that gives us a puncher's chance. And then you saw the disastrous inning with Sheehan walking guys, giving up base hits, and then obviously Bonda giving up the grand slam, the backbreaking grand slam to Barger in Game One, and that pretty much ended the game. And Shohei, oh my God, he hit a meaningless home run, man. I was so I honestly at that point I'm like, I'd rather you just strike out. To be honest with you, like he hasn't done much this postseason outside of Game Four last series, of course. And then what does he do? He freaking hits a home run, a skyscraping home run when the game's already out of reach. That kind of bothered me a little bit, but I guess it'll look better on the baseball card, I guess. But geez, man, I need this show here. I need that when it counts, man. I need it when it's still a game, not when it's over.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, game one was exactly what, and I'm so glad you brought that up. Like, I truly do feel that the Blue Jays had to win game one. I really do. Even if the Dodgers won game one and the Blue Jays won game two, I still like there's a difference to that. And a lot of people are like, well, no, the outcome still 1-1, series tied going back to Los Angeles. I get that. But you gotta understand this Dodger team, man. That's what I have been trying to like say for this entire postseason and last year too. Game one is so important. Look what happened to the Yankees last year. Okay, game one. I can guarantee you that series. I'm not saying the outcome would have been different, but it would have went at least more than 5 games if the Yankees won game one last year. That was backbreaking, dude. Backbreaking. And there's only a certain few teams who can come back and win a series like that. And I feel it's the Dodgers. So that's why I feel that like there's no momentum right now to me. There's not. There's truly not. I feel it's still a clean slate. It's just like as it is right now heading into game three. Um, but moving on though, I need to ask you. You've been a huge supporter of Yoshinobu Yamamoto ever since coming over to Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
Josh Reddick
How
can
did
suck it, man. Fuck him.
how was that game two? Come on, I want to hear it, dog.
That
Come on.
was that was fantastic. I told myself after the Dodgers won the World Series last year that Yoshinobu Yamamoto won me over, and I want to get his jersey, his gold jersey. Obviously, they came out. I wasn't looking to spend, another $500 on another jersey. So I
Understandable.
didn't want to I didn't want to be down 1,000 on two jerseys. But um, I think this might be the off season where I'm gonna have to do that. Yamamoto has put
Two
himself
complete
two
games, dude.
complete games back
Oh
to
my
back.
god.
And again, the similarities. Oral Hershiser 1988 did it. Now that Dodger team was not as good as this team, I believe. So, but it was really cool to see that. And again, just what a difference a year makes for Yamamoto. 1 year ago, and I always go back to this point when I talk about Yamamoto. Dave Roberts did not have that much trust in him as he does now. I always go back to Game 5 of the division series against the Padres here at Dodger Stadium. Winner take all, Padres. Winner goes to the championship series. Yoshinobu Yamamoto goes 5 clean innings to keep the Dodgers at 1-0. And Dave Roberts is like, you know what? Thank you. I've seen enough. Let's get to the bullpen. You know, Fast forward a year now, that would never happen. And it's
No.
just go. It's just it's two things. It shows how really unreliable this Dodger bullpen has been all season, but it also shows you how much the Dodgers and specifically Dave Roberts trusts in Yoshinobu Yamamoto and just how much he's grown as a pitcher over the past year. And I know Blake Snell, has probably been the best Dodgers pitcher up until Friday night, but Yamamoto, man, like he's asserted himself as top three pitcher in the game, and it's been so lovely to see. And again, I just mentioned it a second ago. It's been so nice to see Yamamoto stick it to all those former players and a lot of media people that were like, "How can you give this guy?" $325 million to he's never pitched in the big leagues before. How could you do that? Seems like he's answered the bell every single time, and it was a little different Saturday night because all the other times Yamamoto had pitched this postseason, the Dodgers had a series lead. They were already up 1-0 in the series, and with game two against the Phillies, they were up 2-0. Now he did not pitch well in that, but again, I guess everybody's due for a bad one, and that happened. Then I'm glad he got his bad one out, before this series. So um, there was there was some pressure on Yamamoto to go pitch well in game two, and it didn't look like he was even going to complete the game because it was happening again like it did in game one, where Yamamoto was a little antsy. He gave up a double to Springer. He walked a guy, he gave up another base hit, and all of a sudden you blink and it's runners at first and third with nobody out, and it's like, holy shit, here we go again. This Blue Jays team is about to put up a crooked number. The Dodgers are gonna have to play behind the eight ball for the rest of this game, and Yamamoto calmed down, made his pitches, and um, was able to, and he just never looked back after that point. He did give up the run in game, in the third inning, because Springer got hurt and then RBI sacrifice fly. But other than that, Yamamoto was unhittable and untouchable, and I'm so glad that he was able to have that again. And not much you can say now. Yamamoto's, my opinion, top five best pitcher in the world right now, without question.
Yeah, I mean, easily. You kind of brought up the argument of like, arguably top three in the game, and I do truly do believe that he is up there for sure. He's top five, 100%. To me, I have been a Yoshinobu Yamamoto supporter ever since he got posted. I was a big advocate for the Yankees. I said to them, I said, please go out blank check, give this guy whatever he wants. And unfortunately, he wanted to go out west. Fortunate for you, but he wanted to go out west. He signs with the Dodgers, and he had that first rough year. There wasn't much faith in him in the postseason, things like that. But then exactly like you said, like he turns around and has like this, like it's so crazy to me to comprehend two complete games in the postseason like that, back to back. I mean, this is a guy who, you know, if I was a Dodger fan, man, I'd want him out every single game. This guy is just like he almost seems like a different pitcher too, right? Like he's he's really he's really brought everything together. The command, the velocity. He's making good pitches count. The just everything on his pitches are just phenomenal, and he showed that in game two, and that's exactly what happened. And then of course the Dodgers lineup comes out like they always do, and then they put on a five spot on the board, and obviously the Dodgers tie up the series. But I don't know if they tie up the series without a Yamamoto performance like that. I mean, honestly, this guy is just he's phenomenal. There's not much else I can say. Um, I absolutely love watching him pitch. I'm more of a guy who I like the pitching side of things in baseball more than I do the lineup, the hitters. So for me, I appreciate pitching on a different level than I do hitting. And that's exactly the type of guy Yamamoto is. So I appreciate him, and I absolutely love watching him pitch. Um, yeah, man. I mean, it was such a cool thing to see that complete game, and like I said, the Dodgers lineup. Will Smith in particular, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. I mean, that's exactly what you want out of your lineup. But yeah, man. Just very very cool to see Yamamoto kind of just form into the guy that we expected him to form into after coming out over from Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. And you watch Yamamoto pitch; it doesn't even look like he's throwing the ball hard. It's just a beautiful release. It's so simple. He's not even. It doesn't even look like he's throwing the ball that hard, but he's still averaging 96, 97 on his fastball. And he had six different pitches that he can go to. You saw it all. You saw the cutter. You saw the fastball. You saw the splitter. You saw the curveball once in a while to get guys, and he had, I think, a 1, 2, 3 inning in the seventh, and I'm like, damn, this guy, he's probably gonna finish this again. So
Hmm.
that was really cool to see, and something to keep an eye on as we head into this three-game series here in LA. The Blue Jays have not seen Roki Sasaki, and I guess I'll throw Blake Trinan in there too. They have not seen Roki Sasaki in this series with yet, which I think that can be an advantage for this Dodger team because obviously they got blown out in Game One. There goes Buck Martinez, by the way, coming out on the field. Uh, Yankee lover Buck Martinez, obviously, um, and um, and then they got the doors blown off in game one, so you weren't going to use any of your high leverage guys. And then game two, Yamamoto pitched a complete game. So the Dodgers have been able to stay away from their quote unquote high leverage guys, which honestly, um, ever since Vesia, we found out what happened with him. Again, continued his prayers up to him and his wife. I don't know who the high leverage guys are anymore, other than Sasaki and maybe Trine. And other than that, I don't even know. But um, yeah, so that's the thing. Keeping an eye as we go on into this series.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, that now brings us to game three. We are hours away from first pitch of
Fucking
game
dead
three.
arm Scherzer taking the mound here in about 5 hours.
What is so obviously this is going to be the last game that we really preview because by the time that the World Series is
Hey,
over,
this is over. By the time we come back
Saturday,
here Monday, it's over.
yeah. So we will have a World Series champion by the time we come back here for the next podcast. So with that being said, just give me what you're looking for specifically tonight because this is the game we're previewing, and then kind of like the rest of the series too. Like, what exactly is your thing for the Dodgers, right? Or even the Blue Jays if you kind of want to play devil's advocate a little bit. Um, so go ahead, floor is yours.
I think this is a must-win for the Blue Jays tonight. I really think it is. If
Okay.
they go down 2-1, I'm not saying they're not going to stop believing because this Blue Jays team is too good. But if to me, I thought they should have thrown Shane Bieber out tonight. Now I heard what Dave Schneider said, and I understand why he did it. He wants to give Bieber, a guy who just came off a big Tommy John surgery, to give him an extra day, give him his full rest. But this Dodger offense has not clicked at all this postseason. You'd have to go back all the way into the wild card series against the Reds. I understand Scherzer's a future Hall of Famer, and he's a big game pitcher, but he does not throw that hard anymore. I'm sorry, he doesn't. And I really think if the Dodgers can get to Scherzer, I think that might unlock something with this team. I really think so. And I just want to know what kind of glass now we're gonna get tonight. The last two times against the Phillies and against the Brewers, he's looked really good. But again, a big part of why Glasnow is so successful is because he gets the swing and miss. He gets the chase. You saw it in Game One. This Blue Jays team does not expand the zone. They don't chase. They don't strike out a lot. And obviously Tyler Glasnow is a strikeout pitcher. So I'm very anxious to see how this goes tonight. And this might be the day where you might have to go to that bullpen a little early for both teams, and that's what I'm looking forward. Who in these next three nights can use their bullpen less? Because I think whoever uses their bullpen less is gonna end up winning this series. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm really looking for this Dodger offense to click, man. It's got to happen sooner or later, man. Because you can't keep winning these games. I mean, you can if you're getting great starting pitching like that. You can win 5-1, 4-1. But man, like this offense has to get it going. Particularly the top of this order has to get it going sooner or later.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it goes back to the old saying, "Pitching wins championships," and And with that being said, we know our probables for tonight, obviously, and then for tomorrow as well. Max Scherzer and Shane Bieber for the Blue Jays, and Tyler Glasnow and Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. And I also want to point out too that like pitching, like yes, you obviously want your starters to go deep into games, and I think the Dodgers have a better chance of that. Just with Max Scherzer being older and Shane Bieber, he's not what he was in Cleveland. Not saying he's not a good pitcher, but coming off that big surgery and things, I think the one thing I want to give the Blue Jays here is I really do like that bullpen a lot. Louis Varlin in particular. I mean, this guy has basically pitched in every single postseason game for the Blue Jays, and he's kind of their go-to, and for good reason too. I mean, this guy, he pitches well, he commands well, and that's the one thing I feel that the Blue Jays have over the Dodgers is the bullpen. However, like I said though, I have more faith in the Dodgers starters than I do the Blue Jays starters. Um, so honestly, I kind of think this comes down to the lineup, man. Which big guys are going to come up when it means the most, right? So is Shohei gonna finally come alive? Is Mookie Betts gonna show up? Is Freddie Freeman? And then obviously for the Blue Jays, George Springer, Vladdy Jr., Ernie Clement, his name's been tossed around in there. It's very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this series shakes out. I can see a world where both of these teams win, man. I really can. And obviously next week we will know that. But for right now, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'll leave it at that. But I'm very interested in Tyler Glasnow tonight. I've always liked Tyler Glasnow in his days with Tampa Bay. I love the way he pitches. I love what he's about, and I'm rooting for him obviously tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see what he gives the Dodgers.
Now, before we get out of here, a couple closing thoughts. Um, it didn't hit me until I saw a tweet of it yesterday. First of all, this is the last 3 games of my season here. Like, no matter what happens, if the Blue Jays win or the Dodgers win, these are my last 3 games of the season, and it's been fun once again. Can't wait to be back here next year for 2026. Number two, and this didn't hit me until I saw the tweet. This is the final week of Clayton Kershaw's career. I can't believe that we're here now. I'm not gonna cry. I did that already earlier this season. We will have time to reflect after the season's over. Hopefully, in a perfect world, the Dodgers get the last 3 wins here, and we can have a final farewell celebration for Clayton Kershaw at the parade and here at Dodger Stadium. But it didn't hit me until yesterday that this is his final week here. And lastly, George Springer and Max Scherzer are gonna be booed all fucking night, without question. So I want Dodger fans to be loud. They deserve it. Springer's a cheater, and Max Scherzer quit on this team 4 years ago. So I don't want people to forget that. And I got to ask you before we get out of here. You picked Dodgers in 6 before this series. After seeing 2 games, does that change, or do you think you still pretty good about it? Do you want to change? I'm not saying you can't change it because that's already set in stone. But do you feel different about your pick now after seeing 2 games?
No, I don't at all. I still feel very confident with my pick. At least team wise. Game wise, I don't know. Because anything can happen, and usually when we do these predictions, like we're never really right on on the how many games it ends up taking. But I could see this game going in 7. I could see
God, I
a
hope
world
not.
where I could see where this Dodger team fucking wins the next 3, and then that's it. But I still feel very confident with my pick in the Dodgers, and I hope my pick's right. I really do. There's no fucking world, none, where I want to see this fucking Blue Jays team land all next season in the American League East and have to deal with that bullshit. I would rather see the Dodgers win back-to-back World Series. So for me, I'm a huge Dodger fan this week, and I'm hoping and praying they can pull it through because the one thing the Dodgers don't have on the Yankees is we had a three-peat. So
Oh, okay.
maybe we'll talk about that next season, and I hope we do. I hope we do, just for the sake of the Blue Jays losing. But my final one thought here is I want to say how quick this postseason has gone.
I'm with you.
Holy shit,
I'm with you.
dude! I feel like the wild card series just started. It's kind of insane. But yeah, next week we'll close out the World Series of 2025 and the season as a whole, and then yeah, it's then we can get into the fun stuff, right?
Yeah. How do you think
But
I
yeah,
feel? My team went 9-1 to win the pennant. I blink and we're here in the World Series again. It just hasn't. It's crazy, and we'll be back next Monday. I'm either gonna be the happiest guy in the world, or I'm gonna be a miserable fucking bastard again. For again, but hopefully the Dodgers could get these last. I hope that, and the reason why I picked Dodgers in five, real quick, I want to see them win at home. I've
yeah,
never seen my team win a championship at home. I want to see that. Hopefully, and if the Dodgers win tonight, my mind's gonna start going to that right away. But gotta
hmm
stay in the moment. But let's go Dodgers, and hopefully get three more wins here, and let's have a party down Broadway again, man. But can't get excited yet. We're right there, but man, like Dodger team, we're right there, man. Finish the deal, man. Let's get another one. We're almost there.
absolutely, man. And obviously we'll be keeping us posted, keeping everybody posted on Instagram. We've done that, and yeah, we thank you guys for your support, and let's go Dodgers, right?
Fucking right. Let's
Let's
go
go.
Dodgers. If the Dodgers win the World Series here Wednesday night, don't be surprised if you see me on the field with the trophy after the game. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going home. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling everybody right now. If the Dodgers win these last three games here, we don't have to go back to Toronto. They're gonna have to escort me out of this building Wednesday night. I am not fucking leaving until they have to like drag my ass out of this stadium. I am telling you that right now. If they can pull this thing off and win it at home, I'm not going home until they kick me out. I'm telling you that right now. So it's
I
on
don't blame you.
record. So when Kyle has to bail me out of the LA County Jail Thursday morning, you know why. So, but
And guess what, man? I will. That'll be the happiest. However much money that would cost. That's the best money I'd ever spend if it means the Blue Jays don't win a World Series.
I appreciate that. All right, well that's gonna do it for episode 151. One quick final look at Dodger Stadium, gorgeous man. The center of the baseball universe right here, man. This is the place to be, Los Angeles, California, Dodger Stadium for the World Series. That's gonna do it for episode 151. We'll see you next Monday. Adios.